Hello, my name is Kathleen Wainwright, and this is my very first video blog post. I am here with you from Not So Wimpy Resources LLC and Willis Tree Studios LLC. I like to share teacher-created resources on my blog. You can stop by www.kathleenwainwright.com. I am also a children's book writer and publisher, and you can check out my books Summer in the City and Ziggy Tales, Ziggy's Big Adventure, if you stop by my blog. So today I wanted to talk to you about differentiating instruction and how I do that in my classroom. One of the first things I did several weeks ago was I wrote an ebook, and it was called A Quick Guide to Differentiated Instruction. And in this ebook, I just went through what differentiated instruction is, what differentiated instruction can look like in your classroom, and different strategies that you can use to actually begin to implement differentiated instruction through your classroom lessons and activities. So once I went through that overview, I posted it on my blog, and if you go to my blog, again at www.kathleenwainwright.com, you can subscribe to my email list, and what I will do is send you automatically, once you confirm your subscription, my free ebook on how to differentiate instruction. Here are some classroom pictures that I took that I just wanted to take a moment and share with you guys, because something that I created last week was choice boards for my students. And I use choice boards a lot, but I just changed how I was using them in my classroom, because normally during reading workshop, I have my students doing a variety of different activities, and recently I found that these activities were no longer challenging to them, or I found that they were talking more when we had our group time going on. And so when that happens, what I normally do is go back to the drawing board and look for ways to engage my students better. And the way I decided to do it this time was with choice boards. So just to get started, I wanted to share with you why I decided to post this live video. Well, it's not live, but this recorded video on my blog and also on YouTube. Because of my experiences, I have seen firsthand teachers avoid differentiation like the plague. And this can be for a few different reasons. Primarily, it is because teachers are overwhelmed, or they're intimidated by what they think differentiated instruction is. A lot of times people feel like differentiated instruction is made up of a bunch of small lesson plans geared to each individual student in your classroom, and that's not the case. How you differentiate for beginners is to just look at the different learning styles in your classroom and to present your information in ways that tap into those different learning styles. So you may have some component of your lesson that is visual, and some component of your lesson that is tactile or kinesthetic, and then you might have another component of your lesson that is based on listening skills and things like that. It's just mixing it up so that the students who learn differently have an opportunity to get information the best way they receive it. Because if you only teach your class using one type of method or presentation style, chances are you're leaving several students out, because everybody learns differently. There are also a lot of different misconceptions about what differentiated instruction can look like in your class. And I just wanted to share these images because if you look at this picture, you'll see some of my students are working on a computer. We have one student standing up. He's looking at what's going on. He was probably over there to answer a question, because I ask my students to ask each other before they come to me with a question, especially if I'm working with a reading group. And if you look over here to the side where you see the young ladies, you'll see them actually doing a flashcard game, and I have several flashcard games. if you've ever been into my TPT store, you'll see them under Working with Words bundled sets. And I just use these flashcard games because they're easy, self-checking activities that the students can use to reinforce important skills. Again, differentiation will look different in every classroom, but one thing I wanted to share with you today is how I use choice boards. I'm sorry, before we talk about choice boards, I wanted to highlight that I have a blog post that I recently wrote and shared how I use differentiated instruction in my class through YouTube videos. And if you go to my blog, you'll see a variety of different YouTube videos. They're called short films or Pixar short films. And they don't have any words, but they're very action-packed, bright, colorful videos that the students adore. They love them. They ask for them all the time. And I use these to reinforce important comprehension strategies, making inferences, asking questions, drawing conclusions, or sequencing events. If you go to my blog, www.kathleenwainwright.com, and you click on the featured article, you'll see this blog post. And if you read it, you'll see the videos, and there is also a free resource that you can use if you decide to use this in your classroom. So this is what I'm talking about today: making choices activity set, practicing prefixes. This is a new series of activities that I now have in my TPT store. I'm in fact working on a few as we speak. This is the prefixes set. I have the suffixes set that I'm working on. I have a comprehension set that I'm working on. And I already have a variety sets that I use for math. The making choices activity set, again, I created these last week. And right here you'll see a few pictures of my students. If you notice, the student right here, she has her paper inside of a sheet protector. And I use sheet protectors because students can write and then rewrite, erase, use this activity several times. I call them skilling drills, but what I like is that because it's in a sheet protector, they're not going to waste a lot of paper. I'm not going to use a ton of paper to have them practice the skill. So when they're working on their choice boards, they can go through it, they can write using the dry erase marker, and when they're done with the activity, they can erase it. And on Friday, what I have them do is just do it in pencil. By that time, they've had enough drill and practice where the information is pretty solid, so I just use that as a exit slip, and they get their class participation grade for the week. This is another image of another student using the choice board, and if you look here, you can see the choice board and what it looks like, but I'm going to go into that in the next slide. And this is what this is what they're doing when some of my students are working on choice boards. So here we go. Here's the choice board. So if you look, the light bulbs are activities that the students must do. And then the activities that don't have a light bulb, those are things that the students may do. So I have a must do and a may do. The must do's are the light bulbs, and they have to do a cut and paste prefix activity. They have to do the spin and write prefixes. They have to do the prefix skill and drill, and then I have a prefix quip that they complete. And this is all throughout the week. So when they're not with me, they're working with their choice boards. And in the middle, you'll see reading log, because every day they have to read. So our reading workshop is 40 minutes every day. So the first 20 minutes, they can either read or they can do one of the light bulb activities, the must-dos, or the first 20 minutes they can do a light bulb activity, and the second 20 minutes they can read, but every day they must complete their reading log. So this is just an example of one of the activities I have. It's the cut and paste prefix activity, and what I have the students do is, you see this sheet right here? So these are words that can be added to the end of a prefix. And what I have them do first is use their pencil to fill in the words based on words that they're familiar with, based on words that make sense to them. They fill them in with a pencil, and then they go back once that is done and they check it. They self-check. I always like to add self-checking activities because it keeps my students independent. Once they self-check, they can change their answers, and once they've done that, then they can cut and paste the correct answers into the boxes. And again, they turn this in as for a participation grade at the end of the week. Another activity is a spin and write prefixes activity where they basically use a pencil and a paper clip and they spin it, and wherever they land, they complete the rest of the activity down here. They fill in the prefix meaning, then they choose a word from this list. They write the meaning of that word, and then they write the prefix with the word, and then what that word would mean. They only have to do it a few times. The kids really like the spinning activity. I have 4 prefixes but 5 boxes, so one prefix is going to be used twice. These are the fun activities I like to add. Just they're worksheets and they can be completed independently, but they just have a different look. It's not your typical worksheet format. The students like it. I do say that they can color their ice cream cones at the end of the week. Any opportunity for them to color, they enjoy. They just know that they have to have the rest of their activities done before they do that. But this activity is pretty cool. They have the prefix at the top of the ice cream cone, and then they have the prefix with a word, and then they can write the meaning of the word based on the prefix inside the ice cream cone. And right here, they have a prefix quilt where they write the word using this prefix, and they can choose. We have a lot of words that they can choose from. They can choose the word using this prefix. They write the definition, they write a synonym, and then they write a sentence. And again, these are activities that they do throughout the week. The goal is for them to have a very clear understanding of what prefixes are, what the different prefixes mean, and how those meanings can change the meaning of a different word. So again, that's all I have to share. The activity that I will be releasing next, the Making Choices activity set, will be for practicing suffixes. Students can complete this activity throughout the week using their choice boards. If you choose not to use choice boards, you can have the students just complete the activities for independent group work, homework, or any other time you want to fill your time, morning activity, homework. These activities are great for that, but I like to use them for choice boards because, again, it's keeping them on a schedule where they're accountable for the work they have to complete at the end of the week, and it also gives them choices that they can choose from once they finish these activities. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is my first video. I'll probably go back and record it before I actually release it to share it with anybody because I know I fumbled over a couple of words, but my goal was just to get one out and say I did it so that I can practice and get more out in the future. Again, you can visit my blog at www.kathleenwainwright.com. You can click subscribe, and every time I have a new blog post, you will get an email at the end of the week just telling you all of the new things that I've posted on my blog. I am Kathleen of Not So Wimpy Resources, LLC, and Willis Tree Studios, LLC. Have a good afternoon. Enjoy.